Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video we're going to be working on a very simple project. It's just a very simple mesh crop top or mesh top that you can wear as a bikini top cover, or you can wear it just as a top that you have something that is not too revealing on the inside. But this is gonna be what we're gonna be working on. It's very simple, especially for you guys who are beginners. It's just gonna be two stitches that we're using here, and you're also going to be just doing 2 panels, and when you join everything together you have your crop top like this. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay my lovelies, so before we get started with this project, I'm going to show you the materials that I'm using for it. And as you can see here, I have this yarn Alize Diva Plus. It's a silk and mesmerized effect, and this skein here is 100 grams, and it is color number 525. So whatever this color is, it goes by the color number as opposed to the actual color, and it's 100% microfiber acrylic. Okay, recommended hook size for this is 3 to 4 millimeter crochet hook. And yeah, so this is the information about the yarn. I am doing a skirt as well that is of the same color. So this is actually the second part of the set, or the first part of the set, if you looking at it like that, depending on which one you're watching first. So yeah, this is gonna be the bikini cover top, and the bikini cover bottom is the skirt that I'm doing for it as well. I have a scissors here. I'm using a 4.25 millimeter crochet hook, which is also a G6 US. This is just a preference to make sure that I'm making my stitches loose and nicely. I have a darning needle here to be able to join our 2 panels. And then I have some stitch markers as well as a tape measure to determine our size. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay my lovelies, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with the project here. So the first thing that you're going to do is we're going to create one of the panels. The both panels are going to be exactly the same. So you're going to have exact same panel for the front and for the back. So in this case here, it doesn't matter whether you're starting with the front or the back. Okay, the most important thing is going to be that you take your tape measure and you measure the circumference of the widest part of your bust. Okay, by bust is, for me, normally I just go around the widest part of which is around my boobs. Okay, you just measure around your body like this, and this is gonna go right over your bust. That's what I mean by bust, is pretty much your boobs area. And when you have that, it's going to be whatever the circumference of that is divided by 2. And so the length of what you're doing for this is going to be the half of the circumference. Okay, so let's say, for example, for me it's about 36. I'm going to do a chain that is about 18 inches long, because that is going to be what the half of my circumference is. Okay, and it depends with the type of yarn that you're using as well. If you're using a very stretchy yarn, it's going to be something that you don't have to make it too wide. But for example, this yarn is not stretchy at all. It's very, very unstretchy. So I'm going to do it so that it's actually the size itself, as opposed to when I stretch it, that's when I get the size. Okay, so I'm going to start by doing a slip knot here, and I just start my slip knot like that. Okay, and now that I have a slip knot, I'm going to do a chain of 50, and then I will measure. And if it's still too small, I will add 10 more. So let's start by doing a chain of 50. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is my chain of 50 here. If I take my tape measure and I measure that. Okay, so I'm doing everything in inches. So I have about 15 inches altogether here. Okay, which is it's about 3 inches short. So I'm going to do 60. So I'm going to add 10 more chains to this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. So I know that this 60 is gonna be enough, because I added about 3 more inches with that chain of 10 extra. So with this here, I'm comfortable that it's gonna be half of my circumference, and I can just place it on my body as well, and that fits. Okay, Now that I have done that, I'm just gonna redo this final chain here because I kind of pulled it too much. It kind of disappeared. Now I'm going to start my first row here, and for my first row I'm going to add 2 chains. So 1, 2, and then I'm going to go into the third and grab the back loop of the chain and complete a double crochet like that. Okay, and then I'm going to do a double crochet in every stitch from this point on all the way to the end of the chain. And this is just the first row of the project. The rest of it, we're going to do it as a mesh. So when we do the rest of it, it's going to be meshy because it's just our cover up for the bikini top. Okay, so go ahead and complete your double crochets all the way to the end of the chain. And when you reach the end, please come back to the video so I can show you what to do next. But also in this case here, make sure that you're using just the back loop. And if you don't and you just want to go to the front of the stitch, it's also good. I just go through the back of the foundation chain so I can have a very nice and clean bottom of my top like this. So as you can see, this side here is the same as this side here. So I just like to do it like that because it creates a clean bottom or the edge of your top. So anyways, I will see you guys when you have completed the double crochets all the way to the end of this chain. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my first row here of double crochets for this mesh top. And as you can see, just a normal, very simple, solid single double crochet row. And now we're going to do our mesh part. Okay, so to start the next row, we're going to start by doing a chain of 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to turn our work. And this chain of 3, make sure you're doing it in a very, not too loose, but not too tight. And the first 2 chains count as a double crochet. And then the third chain counts as a chain 1 in between our stitches. And then what we will do is we will skip this stitch right here. In the next stitch, we're going to go in and do a double crochet. Just like this. And then we will do a chain of 1. And we will skip this stitch. And the next stitch, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, go into this stitch, skip this one into the next stitch, do a double crochet. And as you can see, we're starting to create our mesh part of the top here, and you're just going to continue this all the way until you get to the end of the row. So I will get to show you guys how to finish off the end of the row here. So just do this until you have a stitch left, or 2 stitches, I should say. When you have 2 stitches to go, then come back to the video and I will show you how to complete those 2 stitches. Okay, so you guys, okay, my lovelies, so I am almost done this second row here, and as you can see, this is pretty much how it looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to finish the last stitch here because it's a little bit confusing. I don't want you guys to skip this final one here. So what we will do after I do my double crochet there, I'm going to do a chain 1 just like usual here. And then obviously I'm going to skip this stitch right here. But we have the chain 1, 2, 3 that we started this row or the previous row with. We're going to go ahead and just go into that into the second. So 1, 2 into the second stitch from the bottom. And then we're going to complete our double crochet there. That way we make sure that it's nice and straight like this and that it's not crooked. Okay, and then we're gonna start the third row by doing a chain of 3, and this is gonna be what you do pretty much for all this meshy area of your top. You're going to be starting with a chain of 3, and we do a chain of 3 because the first 2 chains count as a double crochet, and the third chain counts as a chain 1 that we're doing between our work. And so then I'm going to skip this chain 1 spot from the previous row, and on top of this, which is the next stitch after that, on top of the double crochet from the previous row, I am going to go ahead and do a double crochet. I will chain 1 and skip the chain 1 spot and go into the next stitch and do a double crochet, and then chain 1, skip the chain 1 spot and go into the next stitch and do a double crochet. Okay, so as you can see, we just repeat this here, and this is the consistency of our mesh top here. So you're gonna do this. I'm not gonna show you anymore because it's just gonna be repeating this until you get to the top of your panel. So this can either be the top or the bottom, but either way, you're gonna end the top with the double crochet stitch like this. Okay, so I'm going to do mine so that it's just above my belly button when I have it on. So it's up to you at this point. You can decide how long you want your bikini cover, top cover to be, or I guess a mesh crop top. You can decide how long you want it. So if you want it to be a crop top, then you need to make sure that it's short and not too long, but not too short either. And if you want it to be longer and not longer a crop top, then you can do it longer than this. Okay, but I'm gonna do about probably, let's say 10 to 12 inches long. So I'm gonna work my work here until it's about the 10 to 12 inches, and I will make sure I finish it off with the double crochet row like this. But what I will do is I will just work the mesh part first. When I have one row to go, I will come back and show you how to do the final row of the double crochet at the end. That way we finish it off the same as we started. And then when we have the first panel completed, we will go ahead and do the second, and then be able to join our panels together to create our top. Okay, but for now, just work your mesh part. Make sure you're starting with a chain of 3 every time you start a new row, and then you turn and then do your mesh stitches here. Okay, so I will see you guys when you have reached how long you want your top to be. And keep in mind, you still have one row to go, so whatever your calculation of the length is, make sure you're also including that. We're gonna finish it up with a row of double crochets. Okay, see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the size of the panel that I want here. So I ended up doing about 22 rows excluding the first row here, so 23 rows that I have altogether. And as I said, I would finish off the other side with the same stitch as this one here, which is just a normal double crochet row. So I've come to show you guys how to do that, and then we will end this panel and then start another one. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get started with the final row here. I'm just gonna make sure I do a chain 1 here before I go into the final stitch to complete this row like that. Oops, let's just fix that here. Okay, so like this, that way we keep our gap here. And then now that I've done that, I'm going to start by doing a chain of 2. So 1, 2, and this chain 2 counts as a double crochet. And then I'm going to flip my work like this, and then into this gap here, which is the chain 1 gap from the previous row, I'm going to go into that gap and complete a double crochet. And then I'm going to go on top of the double crochet to complete a double crochet. So in other words here, I'm doing a stitch everywhere there is a stitch. Okay, so if it's on top of the previous double crochet, I do a stitch, and in the chain 1 spot, I just go underneath in the gap and complete a double crochet. Okay, so this way I create the same consistency as we have at the beginning of the panel here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue doing this all the way to the end of the row, and then when I have it completed, I'm gonna come back to show you guys how it looks like, and then we will go ahead and work on the second panel for this top, and then we will go ahead and put our panels together at the end to be able to make it nice and completed. Okay, but for now, go ahead and complete your row of double crochet across this panel here, and come back when you've reached the end, which is all the way on top of this chain 3. You're gonna, on the 2, you're gonna be doing double crochet there. Okay, see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have reached the end here, and as you can see, I did my double crochet in the final gap here, and of course I need to make sure I go into the final stitch here. So 1, 2, so out of the chain 3 that we started the mesh row with, I'm going to count up from the bottom. So 1, 2, so in that second I do my double crochet, and it's because the third one is where this stitch here goes. Okay, so this is pretty much how it's gonna look like. So this is where we're gonna end this here, and what I will do is I will just cut my yarn a little bit somewhere here so I have enough to sew the panel on top here. So I'm just gonna do something like this and have this here as a yarn that we're gonna be able to use to join our panel. And then I will go ahead and just do a chain 1 and pull, and that locks it in there. Okay, so this is one panel completed. Okay, of course I'm doing it small because it's kind of like a bikini cover that is, it just kind of, it doesn't go too long. It's very croppy. If you obviously want it to be longer, then you would have continued by doing more rows. but for me, I'm gonna stop at 24 rows total like this, okay? So this is the end of my first panel. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat exactly what we did in the first panel to create the second one. And of course, you're gonna do the same when you have both panels completed. Come back to the video and I will show you how to join the top, the two panels together, and then how to join the side of the top, okay? So let's go ahead and meet back when you have two panels completed. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my two panels here. They're exactly identical. So as you can see here, I have the first one we completed and I just finished the second one here. So these are my two panels for this top completed, and I'm just gonna have to join them. So as you can see, I also cut this one, so there's a little bit of yarn left for us to join the top here. And to do that, you may see them both on the same side. So this is actually not gonna be how we join our work. We're gonna put one panel down first. So I will show you how I'm gonna do it here. So I'm gonna put this panel down like this. Okay. And then for the second one, as you can see, this string is on this side here. So for the second one, I'm going to put it so the string is on the opposite side, okay? That way, when we join our work, we're gonna use this string to join it a little bit this way, and this string here to join it a little bit this way, and then we will work on joining the sides with the exception of where our arms will come through. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to just quickly, you're going to decide at this point where you want your neckline to go, how wide you want your neckline to be, or how wide you want it to be. So what I will do here is I will just count some stitches in, and then I will see if I want to, how much I want to make the neck hole to be. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say in the 15th stitch, I will put my stitch marker there. And then I'll count out 15 on the other side as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'll take the stitch marker and loop it to the other side as well, okay? So right now with 15 stitches, this is how much space I would be sewing shut on this side. And so what I will do is I will count out the same amount of stitches on the other side, and then we will see if my neck hole is going to be sufficient for what I'm looking for. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so if we look at this here, I have 15 stitches on this side and 15 on this side that I would be sewing shut, or is planning to sew. And then this area here would be where my neckline is. And I think this is sufficient. I don't think I need to make it any more smaller, and I don't think I need to make it any more wider. So it's gonna be up to you. Make sure you decide if you want your neckline to be wider or narrower. Then you can kind of count your stitches from outwards inwards, so that you can put your stitch marker in the right place before we join the top, the panels here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and remove, to take this here. I'm going to take my darning needle. I'm gonna put the string in the darning needle hole like that. And then I'm just going to line up my work like this, and I'm gonna start sewing it, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and just take this first stitch here, line it up with the first stitch on the other side, and loop it through. I'm gonna do that one more time. This time I'm gonna loop it like that, so I keep the string kind of higher like this. Okay, and then for the rest of the stitches here, I'm going to pick out the stitch, the loop next to me on this side, and then next to me on the other side, and we're gonna pull. And then I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that. Just kind of line up the stitches. You're grabbing the loop that is closest to you on both sides. So this one here is closest to me, and on the other side, that one is closest to me. And I pull. And I just do this all across until I get to the stitch marker. The stitch marker is gonna also be one of the spots that we are joining. So you're gonna remove your stitch marker to do that final thing. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and when you have reached the stitch marker and you have completed that section, come back to the video and I will show you how to finish it off and how to and then we can do the other side as well. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have reached the stitch marker here. I just pretty much joined, sorry, not the, this is not the stitch marker, is where I finished off. I just moved the stitch marker a little bit. So this is where we have our final stitch here. So as you can see, I just stopped there, and this is how it's gonna look like on the side that you have joined. So very nice and clean. I'm gonna leave this hanging here. I will use it to kind of just, so I will weave it in later. But just so you can see as well, this is the other side that is going to be how it looks on the other side as well. Okay, so I leave this here. As you can see, I cut my string a little bit short, so I just barely made it by doing that. So hopefully the other side is not gonna give me too much problems. But I'm gonna go ahead and weave these later. But for now, I'm gonna move to the other side and do the exact same thing that we did on the other opposite side. And so I'm not gonna show you guys obviously how to do this again. I'm gonna do this here, do that here, weave my my strings in, and then I'm gonna come and figure out where to put my armholes, the space for the armholes, and then we will go ahead and join that as well. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so as you can see here, I completed sewing the two panels on top together. This is gonna be where my neckline is, as you can see. So this is nicely sewed here, and on the other side as well, I've weaved in the remaining yarn on both sides here. And what I did as well was I just kind of measured out how where my armholes is gonna be on each side of the shirt here, and I counted 12 stitches going down like this. So again, I counted these as the first row, and then 1 2 so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So on the 12th row I put my stitch marker, and I did the same on the other side. So this is gonna be my armhole here. I have small arms, y'all, so if you see this maybe not being the size that you will have, is because we probably don't have the same size. So what I advise you is to take a tape measure and measure the circumference of the widest part of your arm and incorporate the looseness that you would like comfortably for your top. And then you're gonna pretty much kind of make this that. So if you divide your circumference into a half, this length there should be half of what you need altogether as a round. So let's say mine is 20 inches. Just giving an example, then I would measure from here to here would be 10 inches because I know the other side would be the other half. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of line up my work nicely like this, and then I will join it from here to here. So as you can see, I've already kind of put my string in the darning needle like this, and then I'm just gonna line up my work here, and then I'm going to go into the very first stitch down here, and I'm going to grab the last stitch or the first stitch on the other side, and I'm gonna pull, and then I'm gonna just knot these pieces here, so the small short side to the long side that is still in the darning needle, to just kind of secure this area here so it doesn't come off. Okay, and I'm gonna leave that. This is where we started the project, so we're gonna weave those two guys together. And then here, because there's no actual stitches that we have that are definite, we're just going to kind of wing, not wing it per se, but like you're going to sew by just kind of estimating the wideness of how wide you want it to be. So you're not going to do it too wide, but you're not going to do it too loose either. And you're going to do it so that it's going to be not grabbing too much of the material, just a tiny bit like this. So as you can see, just something like this and like that. Okay, so kind of very nice and simple. Don't put it too tight. The same thing with when you did this here, you don't pull it too tight because then you're gonna wrinkle up your top. So you just kind of do a little bit and you pull it, and you do a little bit and you pull it, and you're gonna do this all the way to where the stitch marker is. So you're gonna do it, and just so it goes in this final double crochet here, matching to the other side, and then you're going to remove your stitch marker. So this part here will be joined all the way to here. Okay, so go ahead and do this, and I will see you guys when you have completed, and then we'll go ahead and do the second side the same way. Okay, my lovelies, so I have reached the stitch marker here. So as you can see, this is where the stitch marker is. I'm going to be doing the final one right in the space before it. Okay, so if I just remove the stitch marker so it doesn't make it too difficult, I'm just gonna do my final right here, and I'm gonna do one more in that same spot just to be able to finish it off. And I would loop the yarn around the darning needle like that to fully secure it like this. Okay, I would remove my darning needle, and this is my hole here. So I'm gonna weave these in, and you guys will do the second side as well. I've already done it. Okay, so I just decided to do them both while I was off camera here. So this side is done as well, and when both sides are done, you just weave in your ends, and then that's pretty much the end of the project. When you've weaved everything in, flip your work inside out, and the other side will be your outside, and this side will be your inside. Okay, there's no particular reason for that. It's just often when you weave things in like this, for example, I just knotted my work here and kind of snipped it off, and as you can see, there's just a tiny bit of lumps that are left here, but when you flip it inside out, then you kind of cover all those imperfections. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the same. So I'm gonna weave my ends here, and when I've completed everything, I will be able to be I will be ready to wear this top, crop top, bikini cover top, whatever you want to call it. Okay, but I will end the video here with you guys. Thank you so much for watching it to the end. Thank you for your support, and if you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Make sure you comment, share with your friends and family. Make sure you give a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. And bye.